position, spotting that out. So he's going to be able to deny that for a little while, going to force a float into the command center just with a probe by putting down that pylon. So S.H.I.E.L.D. was like, I was going to put down cannons or something, going to float it away before something bad happens to me. So Bisu at the very least trying to clear up some mine positions, and really looking at those mines from C, it looks like he's expecting arbiters and recalls, but now Bisu already revealing his carriers at that secondary. There are a few Goliaths in there. If Bisu manages to get this, there are a lot of turrets though, so it does seem like C spotted this out. Doesn't know much in the way other than turrets to defend at this point. Even more turrets coming out, and I really think that Bisu has revealed his hand a little bit too soon. If it is indeed a reveal, he needs to get a few more carries. He's going to have at least 6 carries out there. He needs more than that, in fact. Only has the 3 bases, so whatever carries he gets, he needs to really utilize well. Now can expand at the lower left position where C was thinking of expanding earlier. Simo just has a command center floating off close to that 6 o'clock position, so Bisu still might have a shot. He just needs to utilize his carriers well, deny bases, pick up additional bases for himself, and just power through. Carriers, if microed well and in a high enough number, will defeat Goliaths. Even if Goliaths are in a large number. But last game, C really totally abused the fact that Bisu went for carries, took advantage of the fact that Bisu really did have a few faults in micro. Look at all those turrets here at that secondary. He knows that he doesn't want to always be forced to throw back with these Goliaths in there. Knows that he just wants to put static defenses here. Bisu going to try to. That's all. Going to be a lot of interceptors that go down as he just tries to pick off these turrets. It hasn't even picked off the eBay. He was trying to do that earlier. If he had done that, at least he would have delayed and denied some of those turrets. Meanwhile, the 6 o'clock position has come up for C, while Bisu also has the lower left-hand position picked up for himself. Does look like he's going to be threatening a little bit, picking off the arbor, and then maybe pick off the eggs. Opening himself up for the 6 o'clock position. I actually think rather than going for these carriers at that secondary, just go with them towards the 6 o'clock position. It's vulnerable. It's going to be denying a base. It's going to be able to pick up a base for yourself. You can't do too much damage right now. Also getting his Temple Archives at the moment for upgrades as well, I think, more than anything else. But yeah, you really need that. Need those carriers. Carriers now going to engaging in the middle. I think there's 5 or 6 carriers in there. A lot of Goliaths in there. Dragoons can't really go in and engage too much. One of the carriers is already very heavily damaged. And these tanks a little bit up, and not quite a few Goliaths in there, but not quite sure whether they're actually managing to pick off any of those carriers. Carriers trying to desperately pick off those tanks. Then that's going to allow the Dragoons to come close, but the Dragoons just melting the tank fire, and these interceptors just in such a low number they really can't do too much. Goliaths doing a great job pulling that back. Those weapons and armor upgrades really coming in handy here for C. Very early on his upgrades, so way ahead of Bisu here. Bisu only weapons 1 upgrades on his own ground forces. Carriers definitely trying to break through this, not building any more carriers, just going to stick to a number of 6. And that's what he did last time, and really did not pay off for him. I really feel he should be going for some more carriers. If you're going to go carriers, go for a little bit more heavy on those carriers. Because right now he's going to find himself pushed at his natural position. He's going to find himself a little bit hard to pick this up. Because C, the last game, definitely did a great job of getting himself in nice position. Some of those tanks out in the open, so those carriers are going to be able to pick some of them off. Get those interceptor counts up. At the moment, just Goliaths engaging nothing but his interceptors. But C coming in with reinforcements. A lot of Goliaths in there. At the very least, carriers are going to be able to abuse that ridge of the natural position. But one of the carriers significantly damaged. Might even go down if Bisu's not careful. And just the interceptor count constantly lowered down. So Bisu just... I'm really surprised. Now DT's coming out there trying to pick off some of those Goliaths, trying to do a little bit of damage here. A lot of 4 DTs, still don't see these scans come off. So are these DTs actually able to do anything? Yeah, I think the scan did come off indeed, so DT's going to be forced back. But I'm really surprised that Bisu is going for his very carrier-heavy build. He is more of an arbiter player. Don't know exactly what he's trying to prove by his carries. I really don't think his carrier micro is the best in the game. So I think he really should have been sticking to his strength instead. Going to try to make sure he cannot break into his natural. There are those tanks might go down. Only 2 of them left at this point. The interceptor count is significantly low there, but I think he's going to be able to clear this up. There are reinforcement Goliaths going to come in from the back as well. A few tanks. Bisu just going to now finally clear up that number that was already there. But just to find more Goliaths come in and antagonize him even more. DTs have already gone down at this point, trying to hold this back with Goliaths and... with Dragoons and his carriers. Tanks and Goliaths taking a lot of damage, though, due to their Armor 2 upgrades, even though these carriers do a significant amount of damage with those interceptors. Bisu also has, I think, a Zealot and Dragoon here at the 6 o'clock position, trying to be a little bit annoying. They're desperately, though, trying to defend this base. I don't think C's going to be able to break through here, though, because he is losing his tanks. He's trying to constantly reinforce this, so at the very least, forcing Bisu to play very defensively, forcing him to pump his Dragoons and carriers just to try to pick off those tanks. But the tanks do go down, so at the very least he has to pick off that Goliath number, because really a Terran player can just get a lot of those Goliaths out there at all time. Weapons 3 upgrades at this point, so want to be careful with those interceptors, and especially with those carriers out in the open, just going to get picked off. Quite a few factories, as you can see, most of them building Goliaths for C at this point. Bisu, meanwhile, just trying to continue to work on upgrades on his carriers, trying to get his interceptors to do a little bit more damage. C, meanwhile, has, 5 bases at this point, and gonna pick off that lower F10 base. Dropships coming in there. That Nexus is gonna go down with everything. So Bisu pretty much has to go for it all. He'll kill or be killed because he's only on 3 bases to C's 5. He has to go in there and raise everything. He's lowered some of the troop counts, but there are turrets and Goliaths waiting from there. He has to do the damage. He has quite a few carriers in there. Has some interceptors in there with those Dragoons supporting him. He really has to do the damage. Focus down those tanks. I'm sorry, 2 dropships going down inside of his natural X, but he needs to do the damage. He needs to make sure to shut C down because he's really not in the best of positions. Also has to try to defend at home because C has enough troops to spare to try to defend here. Might even eventually sacrifice this base here at the inside 4 o'clock position because it's not a base he can't lose. It is a base that he can lose. He is apparently going to lose it, but mines being put in just to make sure the Dragoons aren't too useful. Fusu's trying to get a little bit of extra last mining done, but still C on 4 bases. Bisu does have a little bit of a presence there at the 6 o'clock position. Going to try to do some damage there. He still has a chance to get back into this game. Has DT at that 6, but there are turrets in there all over the place. The very DT is trying to do a little bit of damage before they get taken down, but nowhere near enough of a presence to do enough damage there. Bisu trying to break through the front. Not that many Goliaths out there for C. So Bisu with all these interceptors, finally getting a lot of carriers out there with a lot of interceptors. Still might manage to do this, but his economy dwindling. Only has that natural mining a little bit. I think he's trying to put up a base there at the 2 o'clock position at this point, but he's in a horrible position. Not producing carriers, not producing many troops at all. Going to go for the 6 o'clock position now, which is very vulnerable. C-Mill going to scan positions, going to try to find openings for himself to utilize his dropships. Bisu is going to be able to pick off the 6 o'clock position, but C is still threatening him with constant dropships, and Bisu still needs to do even more damage. He needs to make sure he's at all times. Bisu has a few high Templars back home defending. Doesn't seem like he has storms at the ready, though. Goliath's just going to come and ignore the high Templar at the moment, just trying to pick up as many probes as possible. And Bisu cannot lose that base. That is his only mining base. And even if he has a massive carrier fleet, he does not want to be flying with it home. And apparently he's spotting a new base that C's trying to pick up there at the 9 o'clock position. Going to go and try to deny that, thinking, hey, if C's only mining on 1 base like me, I should still have a chance. So at the very least, he's managing to defend back home with his Dragoons. Going to go and deny that 9 o'clock position. So Bisu's still very much in this game, but is he going to have enough to get back into this and win this thing? Go deny that. He needs to start saturating the 2 o'clock position for himself because economically he's bad. He's not going to be able to have enough resources to produce carriers. So if he loses his carriers, that's going to be it. Game over. But if he manages to get his economy going, manage to keep some of his new bases alive, and continue putting constant pressure on C, does look like that's C's brother, who doesn't really like his face shown. But if Bisu does manage to keep his carrier count up, keep them alive, keep doing the damage as he's been doing, and finally, again, deny that 4 o'clock, although C, like, all over that. Bunch of tanks, fully upgraded, Goliaths fully upgraded. Bisu not even close to that. Mines also being put down. So Bisu has to pretty much decide what risk he has to take. He is putting up that his own fourth base. Also, he's been economically behind this entire time, and what's only thing that's kept him alive this time is that he's had those carriers, and he hasn't been able to penetrate the north side of the base. Oh, siege tank and Vulture now at that 2 o'clock position, and Bisu really struggling economically, trying to push out with some semblance of a ground army. Might lose that Nexus at the 2, not even reaction, that moving out with his carries, entire ground army, losing those high Templar. He needed those storms against those Goliaths, but can't even get them close enough. All of his high Templar dead at this point, and I just don't think his carriers have enough interceptors to engage. Look at all those Goliaths just amongst those tanks. All ground forces are coming close. They're just going to get ripped to pieces. Bunch of high Templar. Isn't going to have the storm. Going to get some storms off. Nice storms! Unfortunately catching some of his own interceptors, but nice storms on top of those Goliaths. He really needs to do the damage, though. Finally going to go in there and save that 2 o'clock position, but it's still being under constant threat. Bisu yet again trying to get some probes in there to start mining again. Really now in a dangerous position. Goliath's going to go in there attack the X, try to do some damage there. Bisu also has a shuttle out there. I think he's going to go towards the 6 o'clock position, try to do the damage there. Bisu now going to try to hold this back with nothing but his carriers. A lot of tanks, a lot of Goliaths still in there doing damage, trying to get in close enough to focus down those carriers. The tank's just going to focus down this X, and at that point, Bisu has to defend this base to the death. His carrier count not nearly where it was before, so the interceptor amount not going to be too high. Has some of his Dragoons coming in here to support. Don't see his Light Templars anywhere. I believe they did die in that battle earlier. But Bisu now in a bad position. C has gotten his only mining base at this point back to the inside 4 o'clock position. It has 6 o'clock picking up for himself. If Bisu manages to fight this back, it's still going to be at least somewhat in this. But unfortunately for him, he's losing all of his interceptors, these Goliaths. And even if he doesn't lose the last of his carriers, losing all of those interceptors, that is so bad. He just cannot get back into this when he doesn't have the army to do that. And he's looking like in a significant amount of trouble. I do have to question his choice of carrier use. I do have to question this. Trying to get some storms in there on top of those Goliaths so he can try and snipe in those tanks, but just does not have the count, does not have the interceptors, just does not have the economy. Get back in. He's lost too many of those. Had 8 carriers or 9 carriers early on. Now he has half of that. Siege tank's finally going to go into his natural. And after that, it's just going to be one more movement. It's going to be pretty much checked at that point, and just going to be checkmate shortly from that as C going to go in there and surround that 2 o'clock position. Bisu still desperately trying to fight back, but you can see just losing his carriers. Doesn't have the interceptor, and he does. GG. Has a slight smile, almost had a slight smile on his face. They're like, I got beaten by my old teammate. C's brother, meanwhile, covers his face, but he's looking freaking happy for his bro. If that is indeed his bro. C gonna go out there, sign that damn t-shirt. Sign that damn t-shirt, man. You just brought us our first major upset of the tournament. Don't think many people expected this. But C's like, no freaking way. I am here. I want a freaking title. I am here to play. I got nothing better to do because I got knocked out of the damn playoffs. So might as well go in there and win myself a damn title. Throw out that t-shirt and just bowing everywhere. And move on. So yeah, members of the S.H.I.E.L.D clan kind of going around and killing each other, and the prettiest face of StarCraft being knocked out. Oh well. So of course Bisu's still playing in the OSL, so you know, everybody, if you're Bisu fans, go root for him there, I guess. But for now, hey, GG guys, mentioned that's listening. Hope you enjoyed. Good match. Disappointing if you're a Bisu fan. Damn exciting if you're a C fan. So this is gonna be cool. Later.